guys, Jerry here with Sheepdog Ops. I am your usual sultry voice of entertainment every single week. I know that we are missing my co-host Mike. He is at training this week for his almost military. We're going to call it that. He's still part of the Guard, so he's still out there doing his annual training. I know we've done quite a few interviews this week, and we're super stoked about this. And I'm even more excited because this week we're taking a different direction as far as who we're interviewing. I know we do a lot of military members. We do a lot of sheriff deputies and city cops and firefighters so far. But some of the unsung heroes in the first responder world really go missed. And I know we all have we have the nice big thin line flag. And there's a couple areas that we really don't get to talk to those people on a regular basis because they're kind of in the backseat, in the background. And that's what we have here. Mallory is, we were talking on social media the other day, and I got to hearing that she was dispatched, and I asked her if she wanted to jump on, and she was all for it and definitely wanted to share her story. So I'd like to introduce Mallory. And if you want to give a little background for yourself, that'd be great. A little intro and a background for yourself.
My name is Mallory. I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm a single mama of 4 children, have raised 12 altogether. I love what I do. You got to have a passion for it. I was a gas station attendant and worked at a grocery store before I started this. Wish I'd have done this a lot sooner.
Yeah, I think that's been the coolest thing is that we were talking before the show and we're going into this whole dispatcher mentality and everything like that. And the fact that beforehand you were doing just grocery store attendant or you're doing gas station attendant and stuff like that, just some odd in and out here jobs. What really prompted you to take that step forward into being a part of law enforcement?
Well, I love helping other people. Most of my family are nurses. I just couldn't cut it in that field, blood, gore. Couldn't do it. But when Katrina hit, I lost my home in Brookhaven, Mississippi in Katrina. And I said, you know what, I looked back at my life and said, I'm not doing anything for it. So I chose to help others and help my kids and pursue something that made me happy. And every day, this is a joy for me when I can help people. So I love it.
Oh, and that was the best thing. Like, you guys don't understand. When I was talking to her beforehand, the passion that this woman has for what she does is incredible. And I know a lot of people have that passion, but sometimes it's hard to find that they can show it to the rest of the world and be able to really prove that they have it.
Yeah.
So what steps does it take to become a dispatcher in Mississippi? I know it's different from state to state. So what did you have to do and how to get to where you are?
Basically, I had to, you have to stay on top of it. You put an application in, you want to do something like that, you want to be in that field, you have to push. Go check on your application every day. If they don't hire you instantly, just keep nagging. Listen, I'm here to check on the status of my application. Once you get in the door, you'll take different classes. They'll train you. But the biggest thing about it is you've got to have the passion for it. You've got to be able to deal with the day-to-day, never knowing what your day is going to be like. If you're a nervous person, I would say not get in this field. If you panic real easy, I wouldn't say get in this field, because with this field, you have to be very patient as a dispatcher because you never know who's going to call in. But my biggest thing is to stay on top of that application. If that's something you feel passionate about, go for it. Just make sure that you're mentally in the right place to do what you need to do for this job to be able to focus and stay calm.
Okay. So I know in California, when we go through the application process, there's a nice lengthy test that we had to take. I took the test for here. You guys don't have that out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, we had a whole auditory portion and written portion and math part. It was a whole
well, we had classes to take
okay.
After you get in. And then they cut a big chunk of your hair. Most places do hair follicle. So if you're all about the drug life, no, it's not the field for you. But it's something that I feel like you've got to have the compassion for. You've got to be able to, if you got the book smarts and the calm and you're a patient person and not high strung. Yeah. You can do anything in this field you want to.
So as far as your department goes, how large is your department? Obviously, you were saying that you work for county. What does your job entail as a whole? Because obviously, in a larger city, you have multiple dispatchers, and counties and more spread out cities, obviously, that's probably not the same.
Well, as me as a 911 dispatcher, I'm the only dispatcher from 6P to 6A.
Okay.
I do 911, I do the sheriff's department, I do police department, I do ambulance service, and I do fire department. We also dispatch out the coroner, which is a hard call. But we do all that. Me as one dispatcher, you never know when you have 2 or 3 calls at one time and you're having to do, 3 or 4 different things with different departments. But me as being the only dispatcher on that night shift that night, we do it all.
Okay. And so obviously you're dealing with a lot of the background stuff. How do you juggle knowing your resources? How do you juggle knowing where you are as far as your county goes and the size of everything? How does that work as far as making sure that you have the right people, personnel going to the right places?
Well, we don't have the updated CAD like most of these big cities do, but it's more on your relationship with your deputies or with your PD officers or with your county in whole. Like me, I'm very close to my deputies. They understand when I put a call out, they can hear it in the tone of my voice. Listen, this is an urgent call. We have different systems. We have maps that tell us exactly how to get there if they don't know how. We'll walk them road to road, step by step, just to get them there the quickest way we can. We have different systems. We can check and see if they got warrants, different things. We have all that. It just takes a little longer, but you do it as quick as possible.
Okay. So obviously you're juggling a whole lot more because you've got a lot more systems to deal with. It's not all compacted into one area. You're really
6 monitors.
Wow. 6
Yes.
monitors, and you're still dealing with calls that may be coming in at that point. You're still dealing with all that at the same time.
Yes, you deal with 911. You deal with regular calls. You never know when the deputy's going to decide to do a roadblock. So you're doing that along with the radio and everything all at once. It's like I said, you got to have the patience for it.
Obviously, and I'm assuming you have to be able to articulate, have a good communication skill.
Yes.
Now, how does that relate when you're transferring from computer and being on the phone and talking on the radio? Is that a huge jump from those pieces, or is that just?
It's all in how patient and understanding you can be. Like I said, 911 is a priority over everything else. If that 911 line goes off, that regular line, you have to let it wait. Because obviously 911 is an emergency. It's going to be more priority than anything else. Even if your deputy's coming across the radio, stand by, because that 911 call is priority. We don't know if it's a bad wreck. But I have some really good deputies and PD officers that are very understanding, and it's all about having that bond with your officers, and they understand, listen, she's telling us to stand by for a reason. It's got to be something that's urgent. So it's just all about patience, mainly. Not taking your time, but being consistent with it and knowing where to go to do what.
Okay.
On what computer.
Obviously, with that many monitors, you have to be able to get down the system. You have to get down an organization skill that, most of us aren't going to think about or even realize that multitasking that mass amount of information.
Oh, yeah.
Are going to understand, unless you're obviously a gamer or something that's playing.
Yeah, I would say it would be like a gamer, but it's a lot more to it, especially when you're checking for warrants. You have 4 different places to check for a warrant, because you got the city, you got the county, you got, other counties that may have warrants in there. So you got several places to check for things.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not as simple as just, one screen where
Click,
it's all there
no.
and click, click, click. Yeah.
No.
You gotta really know what you're doing and where you're going with it.
Oh, yeah. We have books also we have to look in. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. You're definitely old school. You got an old school system. You got an old school. You're still going back to hard copy. But you know what? That stuff didn't fail.
We type everything in. We
Oh,
type
wow.
everything in. Yeah, we'll get our cat in 2 months. We're getting excited.
I bet. You're going to hate that you love it, but it's going to be a love-hate thing for a little while until you guys really
They said
can.
it's going to be an addiction because it's going to make our life so much easier. So,
I getting into the whole concept of dispatch is one thing, but then going to the next level of it and being able to sit here and talk about this isn't a call center. You're not dealing with angry customers. You're not dealing with people who are just upset about their services. You've got people with real problems, with real health, dangerous health issues, or problems that could be anything of extreme wide variety. How do you categorize that, at least internally, when you take
as
call to
far as
call calls?
mentally,
Yeah, of course.
um, you just have to learn because, like I said, I have a passion for it. So my heart wants to get into every call I have. And makes it hard. That makes it really hard mentally. But you just have to learn to, when you get off work, which is the only time, you just gotta have that moment to just breathe and take a time out, and not worry about anything in the world. Just take that breather in your mind. Be like, okay, I did the best I could that day. Because there's a lot of calls you're like, well, I could have done this. I could have done that, and you blame it on yourself. But at the end of the day, it's not your fault. But it goes back to the compassion in it. It's all in the person you are and how much heart you give to it. But anybody that's in that field, I would say, just when you get off, say 30 minutes to an hour, don't do anything else. Don't worry about anything. Just sit back and breathe. It's not nothing but sitting in a bathtub or just in a quiet place, in a park. Just
Mm-hmm.
go get away from everything and just focus on what's around you instead of focusing on everything you had to deal with that night.
Well, and what kind of range of calls are we talking about? Because obviously I can guess and think about it, but obviously you know better than I do.
You go anywhere from suicidal calls to major wrecks, where the vehicle's flipped over, people are trapped in it, to shootouts, to stabbings. You can imagine it. We deal with it. But suicidal calls, what I would say would be my worst calls, honestly. Especially when they do it on the phone with you. Those are the hardest.
Oh yeah, that's gotta stick with you.
You'll
And
never forget those calls.
I bet not. That's even just like, because just imagining it, obviously, because that's the best I can do. You can imagine being on
Yeah.
the phone with somebody who's committed. I've cleaned up some. I've been around some, but I've never actually had to talk to someone who was at that point, where I knew the outcome because I
Yes,
was on
when
the
they
phone
take
with them.
their life, you go through the what if. What if I'd have done this? What if I'd have done that? But at the end of the day, if they wanted to take their life, there's nothing you can do. But you still have those what ifs in your mind, especially when you're the last person they spoke to. Could I said something different?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
those are hard.
that really is a lot to do with the training that comes along with suicide prevention. A lot of them are, as far as all the courses I've been through in the military, all the courses I've been through for mental health awareness outside of the military, it's all the same. It's, if they're not actually committing suicide, it's a cry for help that they're going to at some
Yes.
point down the road. And that's kind of where, when you get one that actually does, I'm assuming that's the one that there wasn't anything you were going to do anyway. They've
Yeah.
put out the
They were to
cries for
that
help.
point where it was nothing else that, they just wanted somebody to know that, a lot of times on the suicide calls, they're going to, if they take their life, they're going to tell you right before they do it where they're at because they want their body found.
Mm-hmm.
In my cases, but they're not going to make sure you don't have time to get there before they do it. And those are the hard ones, especially when you hear the gunshot go off. Those are the bad ones because you can only imagine in your mind what's just happened.
Which I assume is majority of calls for you when something dangerous is happening or something deadly is going on. And
Yes.
how do you deal with because obviously if we get to a point where we're not talking about the ones that actually commit suicide, but you're talking about you're dealing with DV calls or you're dealing with something where it's an assault in progress or something like that, and all of a sudden you don't have connection to those people anymore. You may not get fulfillment in what happened or what was going on. How does that affect you, and how do you kind of put that to rest for yourself?
Me personally, if I get disconnected from them and my deputy, if he gets on scene and finds them, it's hard. Just say, for example, my deputy was on a call the other night and his life was threatened. And then our radio cut out. I couldn't get him on the radio. So there in that moment, which was about 3 or 4 minutes, I couldn't get him on the radio. You know, everything went through my head. Is he gone? You know, that's a hard thing to have to sit there and worry, you know, because that's one of your fellow family, you might as well say. That really hits you mentally, you know, the not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But once I could finally get him on the phone, I'd already had everyone en route, the sheriff, actual sheriff himself, everyone en route to him, when he finally was able to key back up. But it was the not knowing that scared me to death, you know, because I didn't want to make that call to the family saying, listen, you know, you've lost a loved one. You know, I don't want to, I've had to do that. And that's a hard call.
I bet that's the hardest call you could probably make right there, is letting know someone that
especially when their life was in your hands, basically, to, you know, so anyway.
All right, well,
that one's a hard one.
we'll kind of pull back from that, because I know this is serious. I know this is something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. So it's not something that's far away from your thoughts as it is, and that's probably some of the PTSD that you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Because yes. I know people think you have to be in some kind of actual physical thing to have PTSD, but dealing with what you deal with, you're probably not immune to it and have some kind of lasting effect on you. And that's
because day to day there's a lot of calls, you know, that you'll never get out of your mind. You know, a baby drowning, nothing you could do to save it, just different things, whether it be adult, you know, it's things that I'll never forget in my 12 years of dispatching. You know, I'll go to the grave with them.
Oh man, that's got to be hard to do. Do you guys have to talk to somebody when you go through situations like that? Do you have to be with a psychologist or psychiatrist or something? Or is there any routine to kind of help you guys deal with it mentally outside of just, you know?
Well, I mean, we have our TAC officer, which is our commanding officer, that will, day or night, she hears every call that we have. And if she knows it's a call like that, she'll come in. Okay. She'll make sure we're okay. She'll do the, you know, several different questions. I'm sure, you know, give us a break, because, you know, with us being the only one there, it's kind of hard to take a break and get away from the phone and just take that breather that you need. Go outside, swallow your eyes out, get back to it, and, you know, go on about your business. Because I can tell you, there's many calls, you know, that you want to just sit there and cry your eyes out because there was nothing you could do. And I have. I'm. If that makes me a baby, so be it. But
don't
you know,
you're gonna make me cry just talking to you about it. Because
I've learned in the 12 years that, you know, you got to have some kind of outlet, some type of way to get it out. And for me, if it takes going outside, crying it, just getting it all out, then I feel better. You know, I don't ever forget it. That's my outlet. You know, as far as somebody sitting down talking to, we have, but, you know, it's all in how the person can deal with it. You know, if they need it, they're there.
Is that the big difference between obviously large departments and smaller departments there? Maybe having that, you know, obviously funding's got to be a part of it, but that mental health availability to kind of just check yourselves a little bit here and there. It's got to be a little bit rough with it not being as readily available because you don't have a staff.
I mean, it's available. It's available anytime we need it. And we have great, I will say over anything else, we have great insurance. Amazing. It's there if we need it. And like I said, my TAC officer will come in and relieve us if need be and let us go straight to that person. You know, it's a 24-hour. They will come sit down and talk to us and just let us let it all out. In my 12 years, I've only had to do it maybe 3 times because I've learned, if you just sit down somewhere quietly and just cry it out, you don't forget it, but it helps relieve that emotion and that buildup that you have, and it gets you through it a little better. That release.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all you need. It's just a shoulder to lean on, an ear to chew off a little bit, and just be able to kind of spitball your own issue with it or personal battle.
Yeah. Everybody deals with it differently.
And I kind of want to take the opportunity. I don't want you to feel like I'm overstepping here, but I kind of want to take this opportunity to talk to anyone who's listening or anyone who's watching this. Make sure that you're getting help. If you feel like you're dealing with this stuff, military, first responder, it doesn't really matter. If you feel like this stuff is getting heavy, because we've had a couple people on here who are dealing with survivor guilt, we're dealing with PTSD, dealing with these issues, and that obviously, Mallory, you can probably speak from experience on this thing. Is you deal with that's your whole job. Your whole job is dealing with emotional problems.
And it's okay to get help. It's okay to go talk to someone. That doesn't make you a lower person, or that doesn't make you not a strong person. Sometimes that person is that person you need. So if you're dealing with PTSD or anything in that, do not hesitate to go and get that help you need. Don't let it go unnoticed, and just let it build up. That's the worst thing you can do, because that's how a lot of people take their life. They let it go, and they don't seek the people that they need to talk to help them relieve that.
And that's the biggest thing. That's a lot of what we try to do here. I've talked to quite a few vets who were talking suicide. I've talked to quite a few listeners who that's where their mindset was, and being able to just talk it out and get past it and realize that their life still goes on. Their life isn't over just because something bad happened. And it
makes them think that they're not strong when they ask for that help, and that's not true. To me, that makes me think you're a stronger person. To be able to realize, hey, I have this problem. I need this fix. I need help. I think that makes you a stronger person inside than just letting it go and ignoring it. Because they can put you in a better place. They can put you in a different mindset.
And that's huge. That's the biggest piece that someone can do just by listening to what your story is and other people's stories, and being able to talk about your own, I think.
And it's not going to make people feel sorry for you. It's going to make them respect you in some ways because you asked for that help. I mean, it doesn't make you a lower person just because, you're not asking. You're asking. Well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Getting that help you need, to me, makes you a bigger person than just letting it go and then taking your life. Taking your life to me, that's, and this may step on some toes, but taking your life maybe that's the easy way out. But getting help makes you a stronger person.
Absolutely. My favorite line, and my mom used to tell me this when I was a kid, and I dealt with my own depression and things like that, was suicide or things like where you're hurting yourself is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Everything you deal with in this day-to-day life will go away. But you don't have to think that it's going to be forever. And
if you don't have family out there, there's always people that'll be your family. They're not feeling sorry for you. I promise y'all, there's people out there that will take you in their homes, make you. I have kids that are like mine, that are black, white, Asian. No, it doesn't matter. There are people out there that will help you get through anything you need to get through.
Absolutely. And I know we're getting a little bit off bases, but I think this is a huge part to this whole career field. Having the sheepdog mindset comes with a lot of baggage and a lot of demons. And I think there's a huge difference between the two of them. And being able to recognize the difference between them and talking it out is huge. But I do want to get back to it because you said you have some great stories. And I wanted to, since we have time and I've got an opportunity here with you to talk about maybe some of your funniest stories that you've got going on, because obviously you've probably seen it all at this point.
Yes. Well, one of my funniest stories was when I first started dispatching. It was in another county that I'm not working in now, and it was where my great aunt lived. Well, She wasn't all there, but when she figured out I was a 911 dispatcher, instead of calling me on the telephone, the regular telephone, or on my cell phone, she would call 911 just to talk to me.
Oh.
And I mean, she would be drunk as I don't know what, but she would call 911. It was an emergency to her because she wanted to hear my voice. A lot of the call, yes, that was, and she did that for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
You know, if she would do it and other people would be there, they would have to send deputies because they didn't know that she was my aunt. And she's like, well, y'all aren't who I wanted to talk to. I wanted to talk to Mallory. So she would tell the deputies she didn't want to talk to them. And it was, I mean, but I love her. God bless her. Rest in peace. She died about a month ago.
Oh,
but she was an amazing, she kept you going. She kept you smiling. And even on those days when I would be having bad days, she would call in on 911. And before the night was over, she'd have me laughing. She'd have me cutting up. I mean, she would make it, bearable. And right now we have these people that'll go on 911 and be like, well, this isn't an emergency. And you're like, well, why did you call 911? Yes, those are the ones that get me the most. Well, this isn't an emergency. And then we get a lot of calls where the girlfriend and the boyfriends are fighting, and the boyfriend takes the car and she says, well, he stole it. Well, he'd been driving it for we don't know how many months, and they want us to get involved. And we're like, just stop fighting, make up, and be done with it. And I'm a kind of a blunt dispatcher, but most of them, I'm not rude by no means. But I'll let them know, listen, y'all just kiss and make up. Because it's those calls you get on a day-to-day basis from the same people. So those are some of my funniest. We've had cats stuck in tree, and the tree we'd get out there, and the tree wouldn't be but 4 foot tall.
Oh,
Sending
man.
the fire department. Yeah.
Laughing all to go get a cat out of a tree that you're taller than almost.
Yeah, and all they had to do was get their step ladder and get the cat out. But hey, we do what we're supposed to do. We send the fire department out there when I could have sent a deputy, but
Oh, man.
it's yes. So
So
those are some of my funniest calls.
I'd tell you what, if I got a call for a cat stuck in the tree, I'd say just leave it. Just leave it there. It's fine. It'll figure its way out.
You never know if it's a tall tree or if it's so you have to do by protocol and send the fire department. And they got out there and they called me on the radio and they said, do you know that this tree is only 4 foot tall? And I was like, but they got a laugh out of it. It was pretty funny. It made their day.
So. It gave them an opportunity to get out of the station, right? When you're not dealing with fires and dealing with real emergencies, having a nice, calm emergency.
Yes. Yes. So it was one of those easy ones where you didn't even have to put your uniform on. You just go out there with your fire pants on and just climb the tree. So that was an easy call for them, but it made their day. So
that's amazing. That's incredible. That's the thing that we don't get to see on the other side when I talk to all these cops, talk to the firefighters, is you don't get to see the stuff that you see in the background, the ridiculousness of the calls that may come in. So-and-so stole something or took something or ran away with something, and it was shared.
Well, that's just like we got a 911 call the other day from a girl that says her sister left her in the park. Well, we got a hold of her mother. The sister that left her in the park was 21, and the girl that was left in the park was 17. But she called us to see if we would take her home. And we had to advise her, ma'am, we are not a taxi service. But she called 911 because her 21-year-old sister left her in the park. We were thinking it was something major, and it was a small child. We get there and she was 17 years old.
A 17-year-old girl.
My deputy almost wanted to bend her over his knee and just tear her butt up with his belt.
I tell you what, that's going to be a whole different ball game when you're living in a smaller county like that. You don't have the massive amount of people. So I live out here in California. We got tons of people. Our county is a little bit smaller as far as.
I used to live in Red Bluff.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, And you know that there's little pockets out there that are nice little areas, but it's not as simple as just being a blunt and a regular person out here like it would be there, where
Yes.
you
Oh yeah.
telling you telling a 17-year-old girl, you know how to get home. I don't know what you're doing calling us at 911 for this.
And my deputy literally wanted to go over there and whip her with his belt, but he couldn't. You know, we have certain fine lines we have to cross. You know, we can't cross.
That
But
might look
yeah, if he
bad on
could
the
have whipped her
camera.
with his but if he could have really got his belt and whooped her, he probably would have. He was like, seriously. So yeah, that's some of my funny calls. They'll keep you going now. And it's like, you know, we deal with the same people every day, you know, unless it's major wrecks and they're coming because we live 98 Highway 98. I'm a 911 dispatcher in Walthall County. Not a very big county. I'm from Macomb, Mississippi, but Walthall County is not a big county. We have one sheriff's office deputy at night, and we have one PD officer at night. So that should give you that should give you an idea. It's not that big, but it takes probably about 45 minutes to an hour to get from one side of the county to the other. But we just don't have the massive amount of calls, you know, that most big cities do. Yes, we do have stupid calls, and yes, we do have major calls. And there's some nights that we're going nonstop from 6 to 6. I'm coming in the door, we're going not stopping. But there's some nights that after midnight, they're quiet as a mouse, and I sit there and play on TikTok. So. TikTok has been my lifeline, you know, as far as keeping me awake at night on those nights when they're not doing anything and it's quiet. And, you know, like I said, I'm a new person on there, but I love cutting up. I don't care what people think of me. I'm going to have fun and enjoy it. And, you know, it's my relief.
And that's all that matters, is that you find your own personal relief and you'll be able to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Mallory, I really want to appreciate you coming on here. I got to give my shout outs right now because I want to make sure that the people who make this thing go running the way they do, you guys know who they are. That's Battle Rattle. That's who Mike normally represents. He's the CEO over there, and he normally is on here with me. I know that we missed him tonight. They do have some buy two, get one frees going on, guys. The codes are online. Go to their Facebook page, go to their Instagram. It's all over there. Make sure that if you guys are gamers, that you're going out and trying to get that affiliate patch. That way you can get paid to stream your games and do whatever it is you do when you're streaming. Other than that, make sure you're going over to battlerattle.com. They have all my merch, actually. If you're looking for Sheepdog Ops stuff, you can find it there. I know that I was talking to Mallory earlier this week because she was asking about a shirt that I have on there and asking if we can get it in certain colors and stuff like that. Anything that you guys want, if you want it in the thin gold line, which is actually, you'll be one of the first ones to get the thin gold line version of the Sheepdog Ops podcast. I'm going to make sure it gets sent to you. So I really appreciate you coming on, and we're going to make that happen for you. We do any of our shirts in any color. You just let me know. You let those guys, the team over there, know. Battle Rattle always hooks it up and takes care of it. If you are going over there to buy any merch, let them know that we sent you. Let them know that Sheepdog Ops sent you. Let them know that Jerry sent you. We're here, and we just want to take care of everybody that goes over there because they take care of us. And then getting into my own personal stuff for Sheepdog Ops, we're on Instagram, Facebook. If you're watching this video right now, you're on YouTube, more than likely, or you're on battlerattle.com and you're watching it from their actual website because we do have a section on there. If you'd like to donate to the channel, we do have a Patreon account set up. We do have a PayPal account set up, and we do have our subscription over on anchor.fm. You guys can go check us out at Sheepdog Ops over there, or on any of those platforms at Sheepdog Ops. Outside of that, I think I hit everything that I was supposed to hit. Mallory, when we get done here, I'm going to give you a couple of things that I want to make sure I get some information from you, so that way we can send you a shirt and really say thank you for being out here, because I definitely appreciate it, and I'm glad that you shared your story with us.
It needs to be heard. I mean, they need to hear the dispatcher side of things. You know, we're that main line of defense. We're the ones that get those deputies and everyone out. And a lot of people, you know, not to toot my horn, not by no means, but any dispatcher, I give them big props. They do amazing things, and they just don't get recognized enough. And
absolutely.
you know,
that's why
but
I'm
it's
doing
an amazing job.
That's a big reason why I'm doing this, is to give everyone an opportunity Because like we said, when I was telling you about it and I was telling you my mantra and everything, it's someone, everyone has a story and somebody somewhere needs to hear it. Whether it be another dispatcher who feels down on themselves because they don't think they matter or that they don't think their job's as important.
They can
Listening to,
always reach out to me. I'll
there
be
you
there
go.
to hear. I'm one of those. I'm a lending ear. Gladly.
Absolutely. And having the opportunity to listen to your story may make them feel, oh yeah, you know what? I am a first line defender. I am the person I am the go-between between the public and the officers to make sure they get what they need. Just like your shirt was
Yeah.
saying, call us with your worst and we're going to send our best.
Yeah.
And that
I
was
really
the big
truly
thing.
believe that motto.
And you should hold on to it tightly. So I want to give you an opportunity that if you had any advice that you wanted to give out to yourself 13 years ago, right before you're getting ready to start, what's the one piece that you would tell yourself about everything that you've gone through and everything you've done? And if you were
I would
giving
have
it to
gotten
yourself or
into
someone,
it. I would have gotten into it a lot sooner. Because the enjoyment, the passion you get out of helping others on a day-to-day basis, I would have started it as soon as I got out of high school. I wished I would have been doing it a lot longer, because of the compassion and the people that come up to you on the next day when you've helped them on a call, and they'll actually come up there and say thank you. That means more than anything else in the world. Not a gift, not any of that, just a thank you or a pat on the back, a hug. It makes your day, and it makes you feel like you're wanted, you're needed. So it makes my days.
man, it makes me want to go out and do something for somebody else right now.
I go through every day trying to see if I can make somebody's life a little better. So got an attitude you gotta have.
Oh yeah, if you love what you're doing, you're not working any single day of your life. So I give it to you. I give you props, Mallory. You love what you do. I love the passion that you have, and I'm glad that you could be on with us and you can share that passion to other people. And I hope somebody somewhere picks up on it and it makes their day a little bit brighter or a little bit better, makes them have a different outlook. And that's the one
Yes.
thing that we wish to get from this.
Let
So
them know there's always help out there. There's always somebody to help them. When they're down, there's help.
absolutely.
Don't take your life. So
That's the biggest part that we got into today. So if you're just skipping to the end, you should. You need to go back. You need to go listen. You need to hear the whole thing because it's fantastic. So Mallory, one last time, I'd like to thank you for coming out. And then, as we always do when we end these things, remember, don't be the sheep in the fight. Be the dog.